maybe, possibly. Jason's frozen on my end.
Yep, me too.
Well, when you got 6 people to balance, and we're on a new platform for the first time, and never done it before. Don't even know a couple of the guys on here, just late additions. We are going to have a party, folks. It is Network Armageddon, Electric Boogaloo, and Jason Miranchuk has fallen off the planet here. There he is. He's back.
Armageddon, Electric Boogaloo, a Network Armageddon, Electric Boogaloo, a Network Armageddon, Electric Boogaloo, a Network Armageddon, Electric Boogaloo. What is that? It's a fun thing to say with your mouth.
It's fun indeed.
You say most things with your mouth.
I do.
But some things are more fun to say with your mouth.
Yeah.
This is the 9th installment of Network Armageddon Electric Boogaloo. It began with Jason and I, and it has now expanded. This is going to be an adventure managing all of this, and I expect that I'm going to be in full-blown stage manager mode this entire time. So hopefully you guys are all ready to talk about the BOOMERWAFFEN. Have the BOOMERWAFFEN arisen?
Everyone hit your marks, okay? Just everyone come on, hit your marks, okay? There's tape. There's tape. Don't step over the tape. Just make sure you get right in this floodlight. Have your moment.
I got to carry a little clipboard around with myself. You got to have I got the headphones on, and it's got the mic, and I swing the mic down and I yell into it angrily, and then I swing it back up again. Jab my finger into the clipboard a whole bunch of times.
You bitches keep fucking it up. we went over this 5 times before the performance. Come on, guys, move it.
Okay, so for those of you, let's see. Let's start with the people who I don't even know. And it looks like I'm waiting for Hello Listener to show back up here, but I don't know why he's not here. And it looks like for whatever reason it didn't work going to Kick. So today it is just let me make sure I tell everyone here. Apparently it's not working on Kick today. Head over to YouTube. Okay. What was I saying? Hello Listener disappeared and has not shown up on screen again. And I don't know if he's doing a bit or if he's not.
Yes.
But how about we start with, okay, Hello Listener froze and got kicked out. All right, well, we'll see if he shows back up again. I'll keep an eye out over here. Let's start with the people I don't know who are on the stream here. Jeem, let's start with you. Please introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah, what's good? I am the Jeem. I have a channel called Jeem, and I do a combination of philosophy, history, some theology, and some geopolitical analysis. And I wrote a couple books, and that's it.
Excellent. It is good to meet you. I'm sure we'll get to know. I'll go check you out after we do the stream. We'll get to know each other here today.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, Emmanuel with a member chat says Jeem is the boss.
Welcome to the Gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom.
Indeed.
Great, well, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I know that guy. That's cool.
He gave me 50 pesos earlier.
Apparently, I'm frozen in a panic stage. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, you're like.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try.
It would not be a stream happening on the King Pilled channel if there weren't all sorts of weird technical issues.
Should we just leave it? Should we just leave it that way, just for the rest, or should I try to come back out and come back in?
You could give it a shot. I kind of have a feeling it's just going to be that way. Maybe you could even just turn your camera off.
Okay.
No, I like it this way.
While you're doing that, I will give Ivan a chance to introduce himself to the great people.
Okay, my name is Ivan Engel. I'm from Argentina originally. I used to work as a journalist for a long while. I became an Orthodox Christian about 3-4 years ago. And I was super tied with, let's say, the far right in terms of like the magazines that I worked for. So I've got a very big background on like political philosophy. I studied advertising. I wanted to be like the guy who wrote the speeches for the next dictator and such. And with time you grow up, theology starts informing your worldview. And I started a small little channel speaking about Orthodox, let's say, theology and how it informs, let's say, political philosophy. So right now I'm a monarchist, and I'm interested in like getting those big ideas into smaller bite-sized nuggets and practical practical nuggets so that people who are just like trying to figure it out, like they can sort of like prioritize faith over politics, but not let go of politics entirely, so they can be effective in the world.
Well, excellent. So you were a rather European-looking fellow from Argentina who is very much into right-wing politics. Interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I have no interesting ancestors. Nobody fled. Yeah, nobody fled to Argentina. That's a lie. I don't know where you've heard it. Other people have called me a fake Russian. I'm not a fake Russian, but I'm soon to become one, probably, if things keep going this way. I'm thinking about going to Russia for real. But other than that, no, I'm half Armenian, quarter Hungarian, and a quarter Spanish. I'm now living in Spain, but I don't know where the will of God sends me. I don't know yet.
Great. Okay. Well, so Westford. Now, why don't you, since Hello Listener hasn't shown up again, why don't you introduce yourself to the fine people, for whoever people don't know who Westford is?
My name is Westford, and I'm American.
Hell yeah, patriot. Okay, so Jason, do you want to kind of talk about the Boomerwaffen thing here while I try to figure out what's going on with Hello Listener?
Yeah, well, I just sent him a message. So, let's see. We'll keep checking back. I don't know. Am I still frozen? Hi.
Yes,
no,
you
but
are.
like, yes.
Do you want to build a snowman? Let it go, let it go. If you got a young girl, young daughter in your house, you've heard that one too many fucking times. So I'm glad to bring it to you. Sorry, I'm swearing on an Orthodox stream. I should cut that out. So yeah, what initiated the idea was I saw some quotes out there. Specifically, let me see if I can share the screen. Oh,
hello. I sorry about the technical difficulties. I have no idea what happened the second King Pill pressed start. My entire computer froze. I'm sure it was the demons.
Yes, it must have been. We've all so the new guys have all introduced themselves. I know my audience may not be yet familiar with you, so please, Hello Listener, do introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Hello Listener. I'm a well-known right-wing pundit. I would like to offer everyone here to go to buymysnacks.com. We sell large boxes of canned goods for your family. We have 3 different color macaroni and cheeses to help you in your bunker situation.
Oh, you got?
Tony's also well known for playing in the movie Mad Max Fury Road as the organic mechanic. Go look it up. He was really great in that film.
He does a really compelling freeze frame too. I thought he was frozen for like the last 30 seconds, and all of a sudden
if it wasn't for the flag moving, you would have known.
Well, wait. Yeah, but this isn't my profile picture. I'm just not moving.
Oh, whoa.
There you go.
I could probably hold on.
I didn't realize how small you were, Jim.
Jim is actually that small. Yeah, he fits in your pocket.
It's like 1'2".
You've heard of the bitter white pill before. That's Jim. That's Jim right there.
There you go.
I realize I'm moving around my screen and I'm probably still frozen in some sort of like paralytic phrase, but fuck it, we're just gonna go. So yeah, Boomerwaffen. This came across my desk. Yeah, I understand. What are you talking about?
What is it about?
Well, it's this. It's the big question is this: we've heard about everyone getting red pilled, right? And apparently, someone tweeted out that this passed their desk over on Facebook from some boomer account. So let's just see what's going on with the boomers right now.
No audio.
It's probably better anyways, because that way you don't get demonetized. It's a Johnny Cash song. But basically,
do you want me to sing the background?
Yes.
The question at the top of the screen is, remember
it is when the beauty comes along. And who can see what the soul is when a mind begins a song? Shia LaBeouf's not a Chinaman.
If you could understand that, in one ear I've got Johnny Cash singing when the man comes around, and the other ear I've got
I could continue if you like.
I've got
yes.
Sinead O'Connor in my other ear.
Return to innocence. Hi. Wait, press play. Hi.
Enya.
Not Doja Cat. Anyone but Doja Cat.
I cannot wait until I upload this to the King Pilled podcast feed tomorrow.
That's just the background music.
I'm imagining someone who just opens up the podcast and starts listening to audio, and they're like, "What the hell is happening?"
There's Jews and Enya at the same time. Why? Why is this happening? So is Anya Jewish? I didn't know. So I thought it was interesting to maybe open a conversation for the BOOMERWAFFEN, because when you look if you look on X and you just type in boomer, it's nonstop boomer hate. It's just nonstop boomer hate, blaming the boomers for everything from the environment to the economy to everything that's gone wrong ever. They're the most evil generation ever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I made some headways last year with this idea of befriend a boomer. Basically saying that people should go out there before the boomers are all gone. We need to befriend boomers and learn from them, because they were probably the last competent generation. And I know this is farting in the wind for some people, but like they do know some stuff. And I now do a weekly show with a boomer, Mr. Jim Jatras, most base boomer there is in existence. And it's kind of working out. I start talking to Jim Jatras, and all of a sudden I get Jay Dyer on the show. So see, it can work, folks. I'm modeling behavior for you. I don't know if I'm kind of a big deal now, because I got Jay Dyer on my show. None of these other guys got Jay Dyer on the show. This is the guy right here, right in the middle. Probably still frozen.
The one without a picture, huh? Well, as the resident boomer here, I'd like to say that I read the Schofield Bible cover to cover, and I'm almost positive that all of you guys are anti-Semites. And if you go to buymymacaroniandcheese.com, we have over 400 flavors of macaroni and cheese that you can put in your basement, and it'll last over 40 years during a nuclear winter.
I like those. I like that sort of nuclear mac and cheese. That's the kind of flavors I like. I want it to pop.
Hey,
I want some flavor country with my mac and cheese. You got some of those?
Yes, we have every flavor. We have macaroni and cheese flavor macaroni and cheese. We have Fruity Loops flavor macaroni and cheese. We have dyed in the wool gun rights macaroni and cheese. We have what's that, your sister or your uncle macaroni and cheese. We got every flavor.
It's 6 million flavors. 6 million flavors of macaroni and cheese.
That's a dog whistle, and I don't appreciate it. As the resident boomer, I don't appreciate you trying to take pot shots at our greatest ally.
Pot of macaroni.
There's some macaroni and cheese in Genesis. It says right there. And we have to defend the state of macaroni and cheese. We have to defend it. We have to. It's right. It's right there in the Lenten meal. Like actually, mac and cheese is Lenten, because that flavor package, that's not cheese. That's not. I don't. There's some. Maybe some milk curds. You gotta check.
My
it.
people invented that cheese, and I take offense to that. Powder is cheese. You can make anything out of a powder. I don't know if you saw the McDonald's movie, but they turned powder into a milkshake.
What about powdered uranium?
Some people think
powdered uranium.
Some people think that Tony actually has jaundice. It's not true. He's just been making mac and cheese in the basement. getting a little bit of the powder on his skin.
Cheese. Yeah, we have mac and cheese. We have mac and cheese, and I'm working on a new recipe: mac and cheese. That one. I'll be honest, that's not cheese. We're not sure what that is. We're testing it on dogs. We're testing it on dogs.
Cheese flavored cheese.
It fell into the vat. It's it kind of something fell in the vat, and all of a sudden it's like but it tasted like cheese. If you close your eyes hard enough, it tastes just like cheese.
Yeah, it has actual flavor. We've been testing it on stray dogs in India, and we're seeing a lot of success. So I think it won't be long before I put that on my store, and I think you guys, nuclear winter's coming. Everyone's gonna die. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid.
I need to get that on I've been sitting here missing my soundboard because every time someone says nuclear, I want to go the N-word. But now I just got a new soundboard drop right there. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid.
I read. This is why you have to hang on. This is why you have to buy Tony's patented mac and cheese recipe, because Iran is 3 months away from building their own mac and cheese factories. We can't have this, folks.
The scientists.
Yeah, you're taking away American flags by eating the halal mac and cheese. I don't know if you know this, but they strangle the noodles to the ground and then pray to a demon over them. It's disgusting what they're doing over there.
Hey, you know what? Now, since we have a guy since we have a near Muslim who might become the new mayor of New York, it's okay to hate Muslims again. It's okay. Islamophobia, whatever phobia is, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Now we're bombing Iran. We got a Muslim mayor, maybe in New York. You can be as phobic with the Islams as you want. Just go ahead.
You know what I say? I say no more brother wars. No more Iran bombing the mayor of New York. I'm sick of it. We need Muslims to unite. Let's try and find peace between the Muslims. Excuse me, I'm having a bit of whiskey.
This the hair, oh my God.
It helps with the shakes.
Oh man, what's your favorite verse in the Bible, hello listener?
It's this one. It's this one. It goes. It's like, and I do know it by heart, and I've always memorized it, and it's not hard for me to bring up Bible verses because I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Christian, and it's and I will tell you. I'm not buying time right now to think of a verse either. I'm a Christian. I go to Bob's Hamburgers local dairy farm church in Winchester, and it has it goes in West Philadelphia, born and raised in the playground is where I spend most of my days. I think it's DiCaprio 518.
It's right under the verse that says we have to defend Israel, the modern state of Israel. It's right there in Genesis. It was right there.
Yeah, I don't need to know what the Bible says. I floated on the Red Sea.
I would like to be the voice for the chat and say I don't know what the hell is happening either. So
I apologize. I'll take a back seat. I understand that you young whippersnappers think you know it all. I apologize. I'll let the youth speak. The youth, they have so many freaking ideas. Oh, let's hurt the people who have already been hurt so many times by our anti-Semitism. Go. Tell me how I'm wrong.
What about the crime in the inner cities? What's your take on that?
It's because of poverty. It's because of poverty, and there's not enough programs. We need more programs for the kids.
Where'd that poverty come from?
The poverty came from these Democrats. They steal the resources. They give it to. It's mostly. And I do know the answer to this, and I'm not stalling for time, but I do think it has. And if you look into it deeply, the internet has a way of misquoting you. So in the past, I've said to people, listen, it's most definitely because of, and it's not because of, Excuse me, Maria. I need more whiskey. Speak amongst yourselves.
That was something, man.
Wow.
I just clicked over to see where I'm frozen, and I am frozen in a compromising position, aren't I?
Now it just shows a black box. Actually,
Oh, no.
Oh,
For
I'm
me,
I'm doing this video from O-Block, by the way. Speaking of crime and danger, we're in O-Block tonight.
What is that?
Most dangerous hood in Chicago, where I live.
Whoa.
why are you living in Chicago? That sounds like a horrible idea.
There are many answers to that question, none of which
Ooh,
I'll give.
mysterious.
You got
Gene is
one?
mysterious.
It's fair.
You know what I think? I
What?
think you're hiding from the truth, young man. And I think that you stay in O-Block because you like to be. And I'm not stalling for time. I'm just it's sometimes when you. Excuse me.
Imagine, I want to say just one thing. Imagine having so much time to think of things to say about the boomers that are positive, and not even having the desire to even say one thing positive about them. It's like I'd rather be caught dead than say a good thing about boomers.
Well, hang on, but here's the thing.
What if you-
But to bring it back to topic, right? Maybe we can get into the good things the boomers are doing because now we're in the apocalypse, right? We're in this unveiling, all things hidden being revealed, and part of that is the mass noticing, is the fatigue, if you want to call it. Here's another clip. I mean, we can. Oops, hang on a second.
I'll say one thing. I like how they use the internet. As a matter of fact, I mean, they're still using it like we used to use it in 2009. Just giant essays on Facebook. I like that. It's better than TikTok. I think it's better.
They're profoundly confused by it. You can make any AI image, and they just treat it as if it's reality. It's
Maybe
the
I just
real
did.
tragedy is people stealing all of the boomers' inheritances they're going to give to their kids. We're going to give their kids because they send 12, 13 grand on some random stranger on
who
Facebook
was
or
it who
whatever.
said that you have an obligation to scam your grandparents or scam your boomer parents out
Yeah.
of their money and then give it back to them to make sure that because they're going to give it away to some scammer anyway, so you got to make sure it's you. That's like your obligation.
Not my parents.
Your parents are hip.
They're just really anal about money. So
I got you.
well, I mean, has anybody here actually tried to like red pill their parents or actually talk to them on these incredibly important matters and seen any bit of understanding, or do they just treat you like your opinion is of no importance?
My parents are Gen X, and my mom has been like an RFK, like big deep down the vaccine rabbit hole with RFK. Been following him for a really long time, and my dad was reading Curtis Yarvin a couple of years ago. So
See, I feel like as a Gen Xer in the room, I feel like we're being lumped. I don't like the lumping. I feel like I'm being lumped in with boomers now.
What age bracket does Gen X go up to? Like, what would the oldest Gen X be right now?
Actually, just around 60, sub 60. If you
okay.
there's this,
it's like 1965-ish.
Yeah, there's a little micro
My parents are
generation
boomers,
where they
they're like
cross
in their
over.
mid-60s.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
Go on. I was gonna say my parents are boomers. They're like in their late 60s, and I know Gen X is like about to turn 60, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. See, if that's the case, then my dad is a boomer, but my mom is Gen X. They've got a bit of a gap between them. Okay.
Ew,
Well, she's
dude.
very into.
Who said based?
I said based.
Who's like
Dude.
based?
Yeah, no. She's into the internet stuff. Actually, my mom's into the internet stuff. My dad's more just the CNN type at the moment.
On the Discord.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird watching them just like, cradle legacy media into its death slumber and just buy every word until it disappears. Like, I've gone to old people's houses and watched them watch TV. It's basically impossible to watch television. I don't know if you know this, but it's changed like 20 times in the past few years. And now you have to like hook up all sorts of crazy stuff that nobody over 60 understands. And they're trying to use it, and anything they can get on the TV, they'll just watch it all day long, and they just take it in and treat it as gospel. And it's like, I don't mean to be like disrespectful, but it's like why do they believe it? It doesn't make sense that they believe it. Like at a certain
there was
point,
nothing else. The way they grew up, it was just TV or books. Like my dad, he only believes stuff that's in books, so I guess that's better than CNN. But I guess they had nothing else other than the TV. So,
well, they were. I mean, look. Think of what they saw on TV. They saw a American president assassinated live on TV, and they saw the moon launch. Right. So they saw two things on TV that like literally blew their minds, and they had the Walter Cronkites, and they had like that holdover from the Great Generation where you just believe stuff. Like, you know, systematically, it's hard to blame them for buying into stuff that. My video's been disabled. What? It's hard to blame them for believing in the stuff because everything also worked. It worked for a long time. So it's a little bit like in Canada. You know, everyone faults everyone for voting Liberal all this time, but in Canada for a very long time, the government just kind of functioned, and you didn't really have to think about Canadian politics at all. You just like voted for whatever, and it was fine. And it was only in the last maybe 20 years where that started changing, because the crisis of governance and competency started creeping up.
and remember another thing too would be fiction, because that's the first generation to grow up where Hollywood is actually really impressive. Like movies become really, really good to the level that obviously no other generation before them had it. So they had the utmost trust in the media and those creating it, whether it's fiction or it's the news. It was all really, for the most part, really, really high quality, at least compared to what their parents were looking at. So it's like, well, why not trust this? It's the highest quality it's ever been. And they didn't have anything like we have with the internet.
I think there's like two big things that the boomers, like if you were going to make a case, like we're going to redeem the boomers, right? So if you're going to redeem the boomers and you want to make the case for them, like why they wound up being the way they are, I think there's two, you could kind of say three major reasons. The first one is they were the first generation subjected to mass media, like you're saying. They were completely virtually immune to psyops. Or not immune to psyops, but had no defenses for psyops like that, because obviously there were psyops and stuff before, but it wasn't nearly as important when information isn't traveling as quickly. It wasn't
in your living room speaking to you.
Right. So they were the first generation. Yeah. So they get subjected to these massive psyops that they were wholly and completely not prepared for. The other thing was they were the first generation to live through women entering the workforce and divorce rates spiking, which obviously a lot of those go hand in hand. But they got the you think about what happened in World War II, there was a tremendous number of men who were either killed and just disappeared. So fathers, brothers, sons just disappeared, or the ones who survived came back with PTSD. And so the boomer generation was the generation whose parents
I'm a white guy.
were
I'm ready to
affected
kill.
that way.
I would be more.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's like this. It's like, okay, so a bunch of people came back from the war completely effed up, basically laying down their lives for a lost cause that they still don't understand. Their kids grow up in the most broken of homes, people just dealing with like war trauma and stuff like that. Escapism becomes the most important thing in the world to them. And so when TV offers it, TV becomes like a beacon of hope for them, and they become lost in it. It's actually terrifying when you think of it.
Yeah.
There's another thing too. There's another element I want to mention, which is post World War II. There's, it's not like today where it's okay, China's kind of a quote unquote economic rival, but nothing near what the power of the West is. But after World War II, those generations were growing up with another power on the block, which was the Soviet Union. So are you going to trust your media, which is protecting you from the Soviet Union, or are you not going to trust them? And that, I think, can be a big rallying thing in helping them trust this mainstream media. It's like, otherwise it's just Soviet propaganda. So we may as well listen to our Western media where we have freedom.
Normally also after war, there's usually a time of economic downturn from having to spend all of the effort on the war. But in the 50s, we had like economic boom, which is pretty atypical after war. So the boomers go to the silent generation goes to the war. Some of them come back. The boomers grow up in economic boom.
Yeah.
All that.
Right. So
I-
they get
I
kind of this
actually-
weird, like, schizophrenic effect where you have, on one hand, you're being subjected to this mass psyop, like perpetual anxiety, you know, nukes, you're gonna have to go hide under your desk. They're being subjected to that all the time, while at the same time it's this time of great, like, economic boom and prosperity, but also more and more divorces, and then you get the whole psychedelic phenomenon thrown right into the middle of all of that. The boomer generation is honestly one of the most tragic generations, I think. Everyone looks at
That's
them as
what I'm-
villains, but they're much more victims.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The more we talk here, the more I'm just starting to feel incredibly bad for them. It's also the generation, that's when the word teenager was invented and youth culture started to sprout, and the entire world started to cater to essentially undeveloped minds who didn't know anything except for what you told them. And so it I don't know. I don't know what that does to a person. Because I'm a strong man, but it definitely seems to kind of infantilize the generation to never. I think the idea of stepping out of the shadow of legacy media is genuinely terrifying to them.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing actually, because unfortunately I do have to go in a minute, but I do want to say, you know, the boomers are also the only generation, at least up until now. Actually, I would argue they're the only generation that went through that much of a world change in so little time comparatively. Like, you know, starting from the 60s, you have all these different, quote, decades, which before then you wouldn't have had. Like the 60s decade, the 70s decade, tech revolution. Like they were there when the internet actually became a thing. They've been through the most change comparatively. Like they started with no internet, and now they're at a time period where the internet's everything. Whereas all of us have kind of grown up with some kind of internet. So I think that's a huge difference. But anyway, thank you for having me on. I do have to head off for now, unfortunately. But
That's a great
good to
Yeah,
be on.
thanks
sign
for being
off.
here, man.
That's
shout
a great
out
sign
Shout out
off.
your channel one more time.
Yeah, channel is just Jeem. So if you look up Jeem on YouTube, you'll see black and white image of moi, and then you'll see my streams and my videos and my books. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, man.
That's a really interesting thing, though. It's like, I mean, I don't know, maybe the point of this was to like bash boomers, but ultimately, I think Jeem had a point that it's like we have to give grace to them. We have no idea what they've been through, and if we were in their shoes, we'd probably be exactly like them.
Well, the other interesting thing to consider with the boomers is their parents. So their parents, coming from either the Great Generation or the Silent Generation, grew up during the Depression. Excuse me. And so, I mean, I remember growing up with my grandparents. When my grandmother died, we were clearing out the house. There was like one closet where she had most of her clothes and stuff like that, and there was like boxes of shoes from the ground to the ceiling, and they were all basically the same shoes because the mentality was, because he grew up during the Depression, is like if something's on sale, you buy 5 of them, right? Because you don't know when it's not going to be around anymore. So they grew up, you know, with their parents being hyper materialists, but not in that same sense of how you get to like now you get like, you know, just stupid shit. They were buying essentials and they would just stockpile. Like pantries were always full. The idea was like always have food in the house. I still have remnants of that. Like you feel like if you don't have food in the house, you're insecure all of a sudden. Like it's like, oh, right. So they grew up with that in the backdrop, and then they grew up in this time of abundance, and still have all the paranoia of we're all going to die soon. Flash forward to this to where we are now, and a lot of boomers are just hanging on to life. I think out of a weird proxy of that, like they don't want to die, maybe because they don't want to be judged by God, because they're also the generation that turned away from religion the hardest, but they also they've been holding on to life the entire time. Like it's part of their ethos almost.
Well, and also to think about that, like the version of God that they turned away from was a completely twisted, distorted view of God, and so part of it is probably like there is no way back. It has to be this. If it's not this, then I'm lost.
Have you guys noticed that right-wing boomers are just different than young people on the right. Like, you ever go to a coffee shop and you like just a random old boomer who's super right wing starts talking to you? It's just different. You know what I'm talking about?
Explain.
In what sense?
Like, they rant a lot. They're like if you say like, oh, you know, they'll talk about like whatever person the radio personality they listen to all the time. If you're like, oh yeah, I've heard of them, they're like, it's like nobody listens to this stuff, kid. Like they feel like they're like down the rabbit hole. Maybe it's like
It's
feel
kind of
they're
like
above it all.
kind of like the Q movement sort of thing. A lot of the boomers got swept up in this sort of idea that they're onto something, but it's really a Pied Piper situation.
I've had it happen like 6 times. I'm like going in to get coffee for me and my wife, and like this boomer just latches on to me. Like they seem kind of standoffish to everybody, but they'll latch on to you if you're next to them and if you're, you know, neutral or kind enough or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's the phenomenon that kind of led me to my thesis on the Vengeful Son, is that you see a lot of these online communities, and if you're part of the dissident right, and I'm sure Ivan, you felt this too, where over the last 5, maybe 10 years, there's these online communities who've been going through this process of red pilling of the Yarvanites, of the, hey, we're being lied to. There's massive lies about just general history, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we couldn't express it. We were. If you express any of that, you get canceled. You got demonetized. You got kicked off those platforms. So everyone got quiet, or you kind of diffuse that resentment over time. You know, you might go through your own little period of anger, but you kind of just got to get used to it. You're far down the path of red pilling. Now you get a whole bunch of people who are being red pilled automatically. Like, the noticing that's happening is unprecedented. You know, like I shared that clip, like that's shared by some boomer on Facebook going, hey, JQ, huh? JQ&A, what's going on? Why is this happening? Right? Why are we going to Iran? All these other questions are starting to percolate through. And I don't think that's by accident. I think it's really interesting that's happening on Facebook, which is why I wanted to bring it up. Because, you know, you have the Elon X situation where the day after Elon takes over X, you can start showing videos of violent black people all of a sudden. It's just sort of happened. You know, leave it to a South African to go, hey, you guys, about this. And now on Facebook, you can openly start, apparently, JQing, which is interesting.
Yeah, like,
really?
I don't know about Facebook, but I know like Instagram is just like, I don't get in there very often, but every time I do, the comments are just almost more than X. Just nothing except for oblique references to Jews or Nazis or something. So one of the taboos of the post-war consensus. And one of the things about Facebook that I don't remember who pointed this out to me, but I'd love to give him credit. There was a moment in time when the boomers all came onto Facebook. They were, because once upon a time, like, I remember being on Facebook, and that was like where, you know, it was the cool new thing, because it'd been MySpace, but then you were a bit of a weirdo if you were still on MySpace after a time. Everyone was on Facebook. That was the cool thing. There was prestige associated with it early on, because you had to have a .edu email address to create a Facebook account. So it was, if you were in high school or college, it was like a way of like looking down on those who were younger than you. Oh, like, I'm in school. I've got a .edu email address, so I can have a Facebook account. But then the moment when all the boomers came onto Facebook was I almost said George Floyd, not George Floyd, but the first one, George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. It was the Trayvon Martin incident, and then Ferguson following after that. That period of time with Obama, like it was like there was the big Obama thing, and then you had all of this, and that's when all the boomers came onto Facebook so they could keep up with what was going on related to that. There was a huge influx of boomers into Facebook, and after, I don't know, maybe 8 years or so, then it became sort of like the you know, it's normie social media. It's where your grandparents post pictures, and you know, it's not really the place to be anymore. Now it's X, but then I'll go on very occasionally. I'll go on to Facebook, and I just see screenshots from X. That's all that I see on Facebook is just stuff that happened on X getting screenshotted and posted on Facebook. So it was like the boomers finally got to Facebook, and shortly after, everyone left Facebook, and now everyone's on X posting stuff from X onto Facebook. So then the boomers are starting to make their way to X. And it's like, once you're into X and you've got, it's like everything's happening immediately. All the stories and narratives and stuff are running in real time. The information environment is flattening out to where we're trending in the direction of everybody's knowing everything that's happening at all times, which is kind of a schizophrenic place to be. And it won't last. There's going to be some sort of a fracture of some type, whether it's people literally going mass insane, or more likely just some kind of a change in the culture such that people start disengaging.
I don't think it's gonna be organic. Like what I see in the future, what I foresee is that states, it's already started to happen, but states have realized that if they don't have a handle on the culture, if they don't push their thumbs on the scales, they're not going to have a country anymore. Like, for example, what happened in Brazil with the banning of Twitter, of X. What are they doing? They're basically saying, I know Twitter is so powerful that if I let Twitter into my country, I will no longer have my own culture. It will, my leaders will be dictated by the algorithm, by the fancy of and it's a matter of sovereignty. But I mean, it's taking a long while to come through, but I think that the internet is going to fragment into different zones, areas, and I think
what do they
that
call
the
them?
US
Like a website, like websites, like websites, right?
No, different internets.
Yes.
Different,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, this is patchwork. This is a Yarvin idea about patchwork, and I think you're going to see it both in digital space and in the meat space almost simultaneously. It might, in fact,
now meat. By meat, do you mean what are we talking? Salami, bologna? You talking gabagool?
A little bit of halal ham sandwich. You put a little bit of halal ham in a sandwich.
That's just making sense to me. I don't know what it is.
Put some bread around some ham, and you say something. Allah Akbar! Well, and then you eat it, and you say, and you put maybe some couscous or some kumi couscous. You don't.
I don't think I want kumi couscous. That doesn't sound very good.
It's a little starchy, but it's good for you. It gets rid of all the.
I don't trust this man. At first, I trusted him, but
no, it's like if you got things going on in your stomach, you got to get your probiotics somehow. You'll get some little halal kumi couscous.
What were you saying?
yeah. Before, no, I was saying basically that what you're seeing right now is
hello, snack bar. Sorry, go ahead.
So Ivan, what were you saying?
That was very talented, by the way, spot on. So, no, I think that China already started. China has its own internet, parallel internet, and I actually from a monarchist perspective, why wouldn't you put your thumb on the scale?
News out of Russia, just briefly, news out of Russia now. Oh, we just lost on it.
Someone put his hand on the scale.
They're like, well, I got to do it now.
Am I still frozen? Is this thing on? I don't know.
Ivan, where'd you come, man? I need you, bro.
But news out of Russia. Russia just now. Putin just announced that they're going to start their own. Putin. He's going to start their own Russian, basically a Russian WhatsApp, a Russian state social media that they plan on using to replace Facebook and whatever else.
Well, yeah, the alternative to that is basically that we have these kind of free roaming corporations that dictate what nation states do because they have way more power than the states themselves. So it's we either kind of compartmentalize the internet and all of these different things, or we're basically handing over our individual nations to these autonomous corporations that can do whatever they want with anybody.
This is something that I've thought about in the social media domain for a while, that we like originally you had the forum, the early internet where you had the forums, and which is that's a very Gen X thing, by the way, those forums, Gen X and then early millennials. It was a little sort of ahead of my time and kind of getting into my time. And so you had the forums, which were like a single place that you would go, separate from the rest of the internet. You would go, and that was your little community that you'd go, you'd have to type out and post a comment, and then you have to refresh the page to see that it was there, and then you would just kind of have to sit around and twiddle your thumbs and go refresh the page periodically to see if somebody had posted another comment.
GeoCities.
Right, yeah. And then you got like instant messenger. So you had MSN, you had Yahoo, you had the different instant messengers that you could send back, and you could message people back and forth with. Then you started getting the more real-time social media, which was really Twitter was the one that was front and center with that. Facebook, remember when Facebook introduced the activity feed, and everyone lost their minds? And then, and like once upon a time, you would just see like the people you were friends with, the people you were following, you would just see their posts. And if, you had 50 friends and nobody had posted anything, if you opened up Facebook, there would be, you would just have the same thing that you saw the last time you went there. But you started getting more algorithms and stuff started getting more and more in real time, to where now we have these big marketplace, like central public, almost like public utilities, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of them function that way. And I think what we're headed toward is the way I've described it on the show here before is like you have your town square, and that's where all the shops are, and the churches and everything else like that. But then you have your gated HOA community up on the hillside that you have to be a member to get into the community. But then within that community, it's like a little microcosm of the town square. You just have now your local thing there. And this gets into like digital real estate. Like how does digital real estate work? How do you what sort of unique features does it have? And then how do you connect digital real estate to meat space real estate? How do you,
as long as we don't use
things?
NFTs or any of that gay shit?
But yeah, that's the sort of thing that NFTs are pointed at, is trying to experiment with this idea, figure out, because digital real estate is a thing. It's there's something there.
I mean,
it
that
also
was the
it's kind
bubble,
of like
right? People would buy URLs hoping that somebody else would want to buy it from them for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, attention is the product. Attention is the product, and the thing is, the digital real estate thing is very nebulous. So what ends up happening is there's all sorts of ways to scam one another, promising attention, promising that you'll be seen, but with no actual accountability. So it puts everyone in this state where all it takes is someone with top-down control to completely distort the message at a moment's notice, and there is no real recourse. There's no recourse.
But there's like, imagine if you could take a group chat, just kind of as an illustration. Imagine taking the group chat and turning it into a company that you invest in. You could like buy shares in the group chat. There's what is the group chat? What's valuable about it? What are the things that make it valuable? Why would you want to invest in something like that? What would the returns on it be? That's the kind of the top of the rabbit hole for me. I started going down that, and I think that there's looking at what the future is going to look like, and I guess maybe tying it back into the topic here with the boomers. I think a lot of this, something that's really characterized this age of the boomers' reign is this like stuck culture thing. Everything is just sort of stuck. We're all kind of like, we're like spinning around in a bunch of cul-de-sacs. And that's what's been, I guess, distinct about the Trump era, is that it's like, we finally had a boomer who came around and shook everything up, and is sort of, things are starting to move and flex and travel again, which is kind of unsettling. It's destabilizing, but we're actually going somewhere. And I think one of the biggest things that's holding us back from all of that is the presence of the boomers, because the boomers are a very stabilizing force, but they're stabilizing to the point of smothering. The boomer spirit, being like the devouring mother spirit, is the one that defines the age of the boomers. They're stabilizing to the point of smothering. And when the boomers pass on, we're going to get the destabilizing, which is bad, and we're also going to get the I don't know, the more dynamism, which is good. These are going to be the incoming era is going to be one that's defined much more by explosivity and chaos and rapid changes and developments. And so the boomers, it's kind of like if you're waiting for the boogaloo, the boogaloo's not going to kick off until the boomers do. And that's going to be a good thing and a bad thing. It's not going to be unmitigated one way or the other.
Who are we going to make fun of when they're gone?
Gen X probably. Fuck you all. It's not.
No, it's going to be millennials.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be millennials. We're going to teabag the millennials. They're fucking middle management.
Can I pretend to be
bullshit.
a Zoomer? I'm close enough.
Well, Charles Padilla on my channel famously once said that the real revolution comes when it's the Gen X head on a Gen Z body, and I think that we're starting to see that more and more, especially the Gen Z males, right? Because it's again the spirit of the vengeful son's coming, and that desire to tear things down and remake them in your own image, and simply just get rid of what doesn't. Yeah, the problem is it's going to feel good, right? It's going to feel good, and in some cases it's going to be right. It's going to be just. It's going to be the right thing to do. The only problem is that once you start to tear one thing down, you might start tearing everything down, and the only stopgap now is going to come from the tech bros. This is something that I talked about with Jay Dyer on this week's show, is that when you take away all those nominal Christian ethics and breaks that used to be in society, you take those out, and then all of a sudden you start having all these outcroppings of violence, the Gigians, the Luigi Mangiones, et cetera. Well, then that beggars a response, and the response you're going to get is Palantir. And the response you're going to get is digital panopticons that are going to hold us all in. Now, for those of us who enjoy order and want order and peace and all that stuff, it might just work out for us. It might produce a society that we want to live in, or it may not. I don't know, right? Depends on where you live. But things are going to get a lot more. The response of the orderly side is going to become much more stringent. There's going to be a violence in that too. And
Sorry.
No.
I was just going to say, what King Pilled was saying was that these structures are going to collapse. And the reason these structures are going to collapse, that the boomers have relied upon, is because these structures are based on a lie. And if Palantir becomes the new safeguard for order, then that's just restructuring the lie that collapses. So there's no hope in that whatsoever, actually.
Well, I would say it's not that there's going to be a collapse. I think you could think of it as a collapse, but it's more like those institutions are going to be replaced. They're going to be replaced with something different. And that thing that's different is going to be different in good ways, and it's going to be different in bad ways. And so something like Palantir, if you want secure elections and all illegals removed from your country, then Palantir is going to be very good for that. If you want much less fraud and waste and graft within the government, Palantir is going to be very good for that by the efficiency making function of it.
But doesn't Palantir have crazy ties to Israel? Isn't Palantir directly tied to Israel at this point?
Palantir was forced on Israel, so it does have.
Yes and no, right? They did have offices in Tel Aviv for a very long time, and they have been working with the Israeli government recently. here and there. But in terms of getting Palantir Gotham, which is a military tech inside of Israel, that only happened in 2024. So then that leads to the big questions like, well, if they've been operating in Israel for 10 years and they're so buddy-buddy with Netanyahu and all the rest of it, then why was it that Israel had to basically be forced to take Palantir into the system after Lavendir and Daddy's Home started to fail on them? Because it led to such massive casualty rates. They were like, "Shit, we need a better system."
Yeah, the Daddy's Home was a Palantir-like sort of program. They were using it for data gathering and missile targeting, And the reason it was called Daddy's Home is because the idea of it was this guy that we're targeting, we'll know when he's home, and then we can target him while he's at home, and he'd just kill his whole family and anybody who's in and around there. So it was. This is why there was just mass indiscriminate, just wiping out blocks and blocks and blocks, because it was kind of a feature and a bug for them both. They're accomplishing multiple different goals. But then,
and also probably why hospitals were getting targeted, because like it probably was that some guy from Hamas or whatever that was in the hospital, or maybe a few guys were around the hospital. They were using their cell phones, and they're like, there we go, because they're using two programs. Lavender was for people, Gospel was for buildings, and Daddy's Home was for like someone uses their phone, and it pinpoints the phone, and then they drop the bomb on the phone location. It's also what they used to pinpoint the pagers, right? So that all of that was going on before Palantir. Then Palantir goes in, and a lot of that casualty rate goes down. Now, there's still Israelis doing horrible things to Gazans, and I'm not suggesting that just by the existence of Palantir things got better, like across the board, but the bombing got better. And that's a really good. This is like a really good illustration, like a microcosm of, I think, the point that Jason and I have tried to make when we talk about this, the whole PayPal mafia thing, and all the adjacent aspects of it. It as a thought exercise, was it a good thing or a bad thing that the imposition, forced or whatever, that the imposition of Palantir replacing these other like indiscriminate targeting programs with a really finely tuned targeting program, is that a good thing or a bad thing that happened? We even saw
it's both. Like it's bad that they're using this thing to go like bomb just like bomb civilians, but it's better in that it's an improvement over the previous thing, which was mass indiscriminate bombing of civilians. Now we've got targeted bombing of civilians.
I don't see it.
It's better and it's worse.
I'll give you an example.
All I see is like a Minority Report situation. All I see is people being targeted. None of this. It's like everything, we think these things are good at first, but eventually they're just going to be used on us for things that we, maybe are doing right now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's just to bring it into IRL. So when Israel started to bomb Iran, now they have Palantir in. And there was actually reports saying, hey, why is it they show a picture of Gaza and it's just leveled, and then they show a picture of Israeli strikes in Iran and they're pinpoint, and they're like, why couldn't you have done that here, right? And it's like, well, because now they have Palantir, and Palantir allows them to be pinpoint strike. To your point, Tony, I agree with you, right? This is why I go back and forth on this all the time, where I agree with you that it's disturbing. And the ramifications when we look into WorldCoin, which is a Horowitz venture of Andreessen Horowitz fame, it's a thing that scans your ocular data to give you a biometric verification for your digital ID, right? Or your digital passport is what they're calling it. So you can get away all your passcodes and all that stuff. You're just going to use one thing to access the internet. And in their YouTube video, one of them is like they even make the Minority Report inference. Like, it's like Minority Report. I'm like, yeah, it's like Minority Report. that fun frisky little movie where the guy had to replace his eyeballs because he's being tracked by his eyeballs. Yeah, that thing. I get it. But the reality is now you have AI that can you can right now, there are programs out there that can clone us. Like, as a streamer, you can clone your face and your voice and have AI do a stream for you, and it passes.
I've had a friend that's happened to recently. Someone got their entire identity stolen and started doing Instagram posts and making phone calls. The scammer started doing it as this person.
Right. So now you have that reality. That technology is out of the box and it's in the wild. So there's going to have to be security protocols to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to have to.
Here's another like analogy for it: the driver's license. If we did not have driver's licenses in society right now, and somebody suggested it as introduced it as a new policy, it would sound like a horrifying thing. What do you mean? What do you mean? Just to operate a vehicle, I have to go give them all my information. I have to go register. I have to pay money to the state to get this thing, and my name, all my information is going to get put in a database, and they're going to be able to track me. And now today, it's nobody thinks twice about getting a driver's license. It's just a thing that's been integrated into our life. Now, with those
You're
fears,
kind of a bum if you don't get one.
Yeah. Were the fears that whatever the people who oppose driver's licenses were the fears that they had merited? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we have no perspective on that because we're living in it. We're living with the consequences of it. You know, there's all sorts of laws that don't actually exist in the Constitution that we're all subject to because we all unanimously agree with them, and it actually does strip us of our sovereignty and stuff like that. So we're sitting here deep in it thinking that it's normal when in fact it isn't. And unless there's no way that this will not be used against us in any situation,
yes, of
other
course,
than perhaps a monarchy.
I'm saying that's what driver's licenses are. Driver's licenses are absolutely used against us.
Yeah. Oh, okay, we're agreeing. My bad.
Yeah. Driver's licenses are used against us, and when they were introduced, the people who were opposed to them being introduced made a lot of the same arguments. But now it's like, so what I'm saying is, a generation or two from now, people will think it's kind of crazy that you used to not have a federal digital ID that was biometrically linked to you. It's going to be completely normal and mundane by that point. And just like with driver's licenses, there's benefits and perks to the existence of driver's licenses. In the same way, there will be benefits and perks to the existence of a biometrically linked digital ID. Are they going to be policing pre-crime? Probably. Yeah. They're also going to be policing actual crime. It's going to be a lot harder to do actual crime. So like my perspective on this is I think a lot of people see me as a tech optimist. That's because I choose to focus on the optimistic side because there's a whole huge cottage industry of people focusing on the negative side of it. I'm mostly tech ambivalent. I think tech is cool. I think it's fun and it's fascinating and it's got really big downsides and really big upsides. But ultimately, it's the tech matters less than the people. The people are, and the posture of the people, and they're both spiritually and financially and economically. That's what matters. If you have good people, then the tech will be used for good purposes. If you have bad people, it'll be used for bad purposes.
Yeah, but as long as it's this sort of international thing, this sort of democratic thing, it's always going to go into the hands of the highest bidder, and we know who the highest bidder is always going to be. So I don't see any way in which this doesn't culminate into the beast system. I just don't see it.
Another perk to it will be that it will not be able to coexist with democracy per se. So you're going to get a return of recognition of hierarchy. And
yeah, but that was always the point of democracy. The point of democracy was always to wrench control from the hands of the nations into the hands of those with the most money, and then establish a new monarchy based on finance.
Yeah, but your sovereignty, the sovereignty of the individual, has always been a lie.
Yeah,
voting never gave you sovereignty. It gave you a ritual. It gave you a ritual to participate in the lie.
No, but that's my point. That's the point of democracy. Democracy basically made it so the financial institutions chose who ruled the countries, and so when all of a sudden all this technology comes out, all this, well, it was a slide into the abyss. You know, it started with the schism. Immediately after the schism, both the Roman Catholic Church and England started committing usury, which was unheard of before that. And this both is decrease the credibility of the monarchs while increasing the power of the financial institutions till we are where we are today. And what that eventually does is it puts us in a situation where, of course, they decide who wins. You can sit there and you can vote, but they decide who wins. It's always who has the most money behind them. And so these sorts of the end goal of that transfer of power wasn't democracy. That was a midway point for ultimately Amish control. Sorry, Jewish control, however you want to say it. It through the hands of these gigantic financial elite. So I just don't see any way in which this doesn't eventually go into their hands. All of this technology, any sense of hierarchy is not going to be a return to the hierarchy of the past. It's going to be a return to the hierarchy of all of us beneath the chosen.
Yeah, well, I think the distinction that you're making is very good, and it's very important in the sense that it's going to be a shadow government. You don't have to go very far. Like the EU is that exactly. Like, do you think that Europe is being ruled democratically? No. Like Romania had their elections canceled because the candidate that was poised to win wasn't in line with what the EU unelected officials wanted. So I take your point, hello listener. I think it's very good, and to build on that and to join it with what King Pilt was saying about the fact that with good people you can make good systems, or rather you can make flawed systems work well. You can make technology work in your favor. What I would say is that just as the players are let's say aligning themselves for a fight, because these are titans, right? These are titans whether you want them or not, even from the technological level, like, and in the national level. Like, these ideas will work themselves out in history as they've always tried. And this is not me being Hegelian. This is me just simply stating, look, people are going to believe in something, and their beliefs will play out, and their mistakes will play out as well. What I would add to that is that every single person will win this fight if they want to fight it, because like Christ already laid the path for us. It's like, seek first the kingdom. You're already rooted. Like, all of you, for example, are Americans, and from
Not me.
well, from the perspective from the perspective of a foreigner, what I would say to you is you have to own up to your own sins, because like the only way out of this problem is repentance. And I don't mean just personal repentance, I mean also societal repentance. And I'm sorry if I sound a little bit more black-pilled, but I honestly think that the US is going to have a great deal of trouble, because I don't know if you see it, but the way I see it, and I mean absolutely no disrespect, this is coming from a place of concern. Trump just bombed Iran and try to gaslight the world into saying like, I want peace. Like, so this is a repetition. This is what I see, and that is the pattern of Rome, of the pagan Roman Empire, of like, if I don't conquer you, then I will be conquered, right? And that's the pattern that I also see, and that I connect with a vengeful son, which is like, I'm so afraid of being a cuck that I'm gonna become a fascist. I'm so afraid of, let's say, not ruling with an iron fist, that I actually lose my direction, and I guarantee this perpetual revolution, right? Like, I was thinking today about like the saying, like, idle hands are the devil's plaything. Like, idle hands means like your head is not giving them the right direction. It's like, and that's what happened with the boomers. The boomers, they didn't really have good parents. So they fell into hedonism. They did whatever they wanted, and because they didn't know any better, right? And I mean, I'm not going to judge them at all. Like, it's a sad thing what happened, but what we're seeing right now is that the US and a lot of other countries, they're not breaking out of their historical, let's say, passions. They're not let's say, repenting from their natural course. And unfortunately, I'm starting to see signs that I saw in Argentina a long time ago, which doomed us for almost a century, which is like, even if we're talking about material things, like, you guys are starting to want to protect your own industry. Like, how are you going to protect your own industry if you don't lower the taxes, if you don't lower government spending. Like if you don't lower government spending, it's like it's fine that you want to be competitive, that you want to bring like industry back to the US, but the problem is that you're not going to be able to outcompete other people. It's like, do you think you can compete with a slave labor from China? And it's like, okay, you can try to sell and trade within yourself, but the reality is that the world is already pivoting somewhere else. And what I see in a figure like Trump is like, I can still play the unipolar game. It's like, bro, you're no longer in that game. You're not. That's not going to happen. And that's basically what I'm afraid of. It's like, I see that if the US doesn't turn from its like, I'm gonna rule the world mentality, it's gonna fall into a civil war. Because with the loss of the unifying principle, I think what's going to happen is like people are gonna like lose their direction and start to fight amongst themselves, because they're already not seeing the kind of victory that they used to see. Like, for example, the US, from my perspective, is losing on the front of Ukraine. Like, you can bomb Iran to the Stone Age. You can bomb Iran to the Stone Age, but I don't think that you can send Marines, right? And like, I don't think the US is the kind of global hegemon that it still wants to be in its heart. And that's what I think will eventually like undermine you guys. But I'm just looking from the outside.
Well, I think
Mr.
from
Westford?
Go on, sorry.
What?
Any comments? You've been quiet, so I'm throwing it to you.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think there are not comments that are well thought out, just reactionary maybe. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we have problems. You know, I don't know exactly where we're going. Yeah, I
Okay,
think Trump
Tony,
has
we'll
done
take it
a lot
away.
of good stuff, but,
What's this guy talking about now?
Well, I was just going to say, from the inside, I think, at least in the Orthodox community, we kind of see this coming. We know that the collapse is more or less inevitable. The hope is that as that ultimately this doesn't come down to worldly power. And what it comes down to is kind of like what you were saying, Ivan, repentance of the nations. And if we find the strength to return to Christ, and we find the strength to return to the actual church, which is the Orthodox Church, then there plenty of times in history have things happen in ways that none of us could have foreseen. I think we should remember that just a week or two ago, we thought that it was the end of the world. And while this peace, this shaky peace that has maybe been achieved by Trump getting involved in something he never should have, while we may not like it, the fact of the matter is we're still here today. We're still talking for a little while longer, and we're not talking about the Samson option for now. Do you know what I mean? So things often will happen in ways that we don't see coming. And I think if we, like you're saying, if we find the spirit of repentance and we truly, like in the book of it's the female's name. Forgive me, I can't remember. The book of I forget her name, but she was it's Maria. What's the female book name? Esther. Thank you. In the book of Esther, the entire city spent 3 days fasting and praying, and all of a sudden the people that wanted to destroy the Jews at that point, they got hoisted on their own petard. I'm guessing that's where the saying came from, is like they literally got hung on the gallows that they made to kill these people. We've seen the same thing with Constantine. We've seen the same thing with Prince Vladimir. These sorts of things happen in ways we as simple humans cannot see coming, but they happen through repentance and they happen through clinging to Christ.
Okay, Mr. Westford. Now you can speak.
No, I can't follow that.
Well, okay, let's talk about repentance, because I've talked about the vengeful son, and the corollary to that, of course, is the prodigal son, as the awareness that we've to extenuate the story is that we realize that we've gone off, we've left the house of our father, we've misspent our inheritance, we've been brought low, we're eating the food of the pigs, and now we must return to the Father in humility. So return, repent, redeem. Is sort of my calling chord. I think it's a corollary to the Jesus prayer, to the sinner's prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. It requires an act of humility in order to even begin to want to say that. Requires an act of humility, and then to actually say it and to live it out, to act it out, requires a great humility. One thing that I think that maybe we can all agree is the boomers were brought up in an age of great pride and vainglory. So that the end results of it now, the consequences of that pride and vainglory, even in exuberant nationalism, is the falsehoods in that are being presented to people. And I think that's what people are reacting to. People are finally reacting to the consequences. We want to do a little bit funny. Matt, I sent you that thing on in message with the Asian lady responding to the black guys, the prepay, right? It's like when you were talking about black fatigue or Ashkenazi fatigue or all these fatigues that people are having, is that finally people are, and I think this is happening across spectrum, where the humility is almost being brought to us because we can't buy into the lie of the pride, right? Where this is something I was grappling with on the show this morning. There's this liberal desire, and it's not just the left; it's both left and right, to bring people up from what was coded as low. So we think, who's the lowest of society? Who's even lower than the Mexican? Is like the Pajit, right? So we're going to bring the Pajit, and we're actually going to place them in positions of power. We're going to clean them up, make them speak white, put them in a suit. It doesn't matter their politics, right? They're going to run the city. They're going to be the mayor of London, maybe the mayor of New York, the governor of Ohio. Like, all these things are happening. And I think it's in that sort of inversion of the white man's burden, where we're so great. The end of history has come. Our pride in our civilization is so high that we can actually make the third worlders run it, and it's going to work fine because we've built this wonderful system, and that's collapsing in real time because now no one even believes in that system. So the thing that the I'll just end with that is like what's upon us is to model the prodigal son, right? To model humility, to return and repent and redeem, and to model that out to other people so that they have a pathway, have a route, right? If you want to see these things change, you have to change. The repentance is turning 180.
Well, I want to say one other thing about the boomers, because I don't think it's just pride and vainglory. I think they existed in the culmination of Enlightenment values, where all these sorts of ideas became as enticing, as credible as anything else, because while they were being strengthened, Christianity was being weakened through Protestantism and endless revolutions within the faith that eventually turned it into a mockery of itself. So I just to extend a little bit of grace to them, they did grow up in a time where Christianity as they knew it was absurd, and the alternative was being propped up by every single avenue, and it looked more legitimate, so they really existed in the culmination of a 500-year process.
Yeah, and to add to that, like, Protestantism literally invented atheism. Like, Christianity birthed atheism. It didn't exist anywhere in the world. Like, it was the product of like bad theology that spawned into like bad like philosophy. And like, I completely agree with your point, hello listener. Like, the boomers lived at the point where everything was so feasible. Like, they went from having airplanes to having like spaceships, and the like, it was their religion. Like, modernism wasn't as strong as it was at that point, but like it came crumbling down, and now like we're dealing not even with postmodernism, we're dealing with like a lame, like weirdo cousin that is like meta modernism, which is like everything's fine, like the house is on fire but everything's fine, and like we're gonna make like movies that are like silly, like everything all at once, like and every narrative is equally as valid, not because I'm a postmodernist who's like nihilistic about the world, but simply because like who cares, right? And like that's the point where like we could shift to in another direction, I think, in terms of like culturally. Like we can take the good things about postmodernism, we can take the good things about meta-modernism and like spin it in a positive direction, like and like give people like the white pill of like, yeah dude, but like don't give up on your on having an identity simply because of the people who are like so scared of losing their identity that they're gonna make identity toxic again, because like the cycles are getting faster and faster and faster. It's like I can see the pendulum swing to the like right so hard that I'm like basically in favor of impaling people. I'm scared. Like I'm yeah, no, for real. Like I'm scared because I see in myself the same kind of like desire for restitution that is completely devoid of any repentance. It's like, no, I know what justice is and I'm gonna take it by my own hand, because like if not, like who's gonna protect me? Like they're gonna destroy me or whatever. And it's like, yeah, like I feel like the meme, you know, the meme where there's like this guy saying, God, why do you give me such difficult battles? And it's like God telling him, like, I your enemies are retarded. You're my weakest soldier. Like I'm giving
God,
you
like wake up early. Stop sleeping. Stop sleeping. Stop going to bed late.
Yeah.
Just say
That
say a
kind of-
prayer. Say a prayer like twice a day. That's all you. That's it. Open
Yeah,
your prayer
yeah.
book. It's less than 5 minutes. The first prayer is like you can rattle that off in like a minute and a half, and do another one at night. Just say the Lord's Prayer, and people go, "Oh, I don't want to do the Lord's Prayer." I've caught myself like, oh, I don't want to do. I'm a little tired. I have to walk over to my prayer book and I go, oh, I don't know about that. It's like, idiot. What are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
how much more grace do you need? Like, you're given so much grace. It's all the time. You see this bombing now of the Orthodox Church percent in Syria and Damascus, and then you sit around your life and go, oh, but I'm suffering. It's like, you don't know suffering. You don't know anything, any kind of suffering. These people
No.
they're not getting any mac and cheese.
Well, it's a distortion of masculinity, bro. It's kind of like they're trying to, like the right wing. You see it. It's kind of goes to what you were saying, Myron Chuck, about the vengeful son, and what you were saying, Ivan, about this distortion of what it means to take power. It's all based on a complete misunderstanding of what it means to be a freaking man. It's either you're effeminate or you're a cartoon. You're an Andrew. It's like it's Andrew Tate fascism. And it's like none of this is what it means to be a man. None of it. In fact, and so yeah. Unless we steer away from that and have whatever scraps of masculinity we can salvage from this ultra feminized society that we've been fostered in. We need to baptize it in Christ before we even think of taking one step forward. Otherwise, we are going to take a step forward into the Hegelian dialectic, which will ultimately destroy us.
Yeah, the taking power is taking responsibility. It's becoming the one who is accountable, the one who accepts accountability for the current circumstances, no matter whose fault it actually was. You know, this is what Jason's talked about with the antidote to the vengeful son is the prodigal son. The prodigal son who repents, returns, and then begins to redeem his father. And this is our own in all the narrative about how bad the boomers are. You know, we've made the case for what the boomers actually went through. Like they got one-shotted early on. They had no hope as a generation. They're also an incredibly on an individual basis, they're generally an incredibly generous, wise, like in terms of like practical wisdom, they tend to be very wise, and we're absolutely going to miss them when they're gone. And there's a lot of things that are boomerish, that we think of as boomerish, which is kind of like old fashioned or simple or naive or whatever. But those are also kind of attractive characteristics as well, and we'll miss them when they're gone. We're going to be you think the world is nihilistic and cynical now. When the boomers finally trundle their way off, the naivete, or sorry, the nihilism and cynicism is going to take off even more. It'll be, because then we're going to have this one thing I've noticed before. You have the boomer, you go boomer, X, millennial, zoomer, and the boomers and the millennials are both like generally optimistic and naive and idealistic as a generational personality. And then the X and zoomers are tend to be like nihilistic and cynical and aloof. So there's kind of like, it's so you have like the bright generation of the dark generation, the bright generation of the dark generation. And for right now, the three predominant generations are two bright generations and a dark generation, just to use the terminology. And then when the boomers are gone, then it's going to be two dark generations and a bright generation, because you're going to have the X and the zoomers on either side of the millennials. So the general
we've already determined that the bright generation there is going the one that's going to be the new punching bag.
Yes, yeah, and a lot of that is going to be because the millennials are like the echo of the boomers.
And to be fair, the millennials are retarded. So I mean, like, fuck, of course we're gonna fucking teabag you. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think I can speak for all of us.
What are you gonna do? Cry in the corner about it? Fuck you. We're gonna fuck with you now.
I am going to cry in the corner about it. That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's all I know. It's truly all I know. I've been babied since childhood. That's our generation. I don't know what you guys are.
That's the vulnerability of your generation. Gen Xers can just take your meds away, and we just watch you just like crumble in the corner, like oh, where's your help now, huh? Where's your daddy? Who's your daddy now? I got your little meds. I got your little meds in my little baggie now, motherfucker. You're gonna
stop it. You're gonna make me a brony, dude.
We've gone from holding blood feast to a brony in one episode.
Never come again. That lecture, Boogaloo.
Well, I mean, but I think that is, that we're kind of, I think we agree mostly on all of this, because we are going to be taking up that mantle, and we could sit here and signify one generation or another, Gen X. We can sit here and stratify. I don't know who came up with these terms ultimately, but really, if we're going to take up this mantle, and it will be up for grabs in some way, in some capacity, if we don't do it with Christ in the forefront, then we're absolutely doomed to whatever plans they have for us.
Well, I think this is why we're at a very interesting inflection point. So in my work, talking about, tyrannical father leads to the devouring mother, leads to the vengeful son, which are inversions of these I'm calling them meta types, right? Types of a type, or you call them zeitgeist, whatever you want to call them. So we're always engaging in the spiritual war. In the spiritual war, the liberal frame is basically just Luciferianism. Now we're one spirit's leaving and the new spirit's coming in, and this is something I brought with Jay, is that I was kind of against debates for a while, and it wasn't until when I did the show with I had Jim Bob on, and doing my background on Jim, I started getting back into the debates because I was watching him doing debate stuff, and I'm like, and it clicked with me that right now, especially, this is the time to debate. This is the time when it's important for, and I know this is not something that's shared with a lot of my Orthodox brothers online, but it's like, this is the time to get in debates with Catholics. This is the time, because people are being onboarded very, very quickly. And if we're paying attention to what Father Seraphim Rose talked about, is like the religion of the future will be this a mush Christianity, and we're starting to see that. We're starting to see that form. That's beyond us. We're not going to stop that from happening. I think that's kind of where people get in their heads, like, oh, if we do this now, we can stop that from happening. It's like, no, you can prolong it. You can toss it down. You can maybe through our redemption, through our repentance, we can stop certain things from happening right away. But these things are beyond us. They're going to happen. The end times are the end times, and we know kind of how that's what that's going to more or less look like. So what's on us now is to save as many souls as possible and set up our kids to continue the tradition. Because if we don't do it now, then they don't stand a chance, right? So it's bad theology has to be attacked right now, and it's not because bad. Yeah, sorry, good.
In part of the age we're going into, I've said on the Astrolabe, the Daily Show, that we're moving into this liminal space where we've been under the spirit of the devouring or the smothering mother for so long, where we've gotten this stuck culture feeling everything is kind of rigid and everyone's sort of dogmatically dug in. Now we're moving into this everything's kind of kickstarting again. We're getting more dynamic, and so like the upside of that is there's going to be a lot more opportunities for change, and things can move much more quickly than you expect. So if you think you're really far away from a goal, you actually might be able to get there a lot more quickly. The downside of it is that it's going to be a lot more chaotic, and we've been it's felt like we're being smothered to death. We're being stifled. Everything is getting like, even in our own physical bodies, we're moving less. We're sort of melting into, we spend all of our time sitting or just looking. You have the iPhone neck, where people just sit and they look at their iPhone all the time. We're kind of like collapsing into ourselves. Everything has been getting like stifled and smothered. We're moving now into I've seen this pattern across so many different things, that the human species has all these patterns that we go through, where it's kind of like a breathing effect, where it's like in and out and in and out and in and out. And right now we've been going in, and we're going to start going out again, and have this kind of this explosive effect that's going to happen. And part of that is going to be, people are going to be way less dug in ideologically or cognitively. They're going to be more open, and there's going to be a lot of change, almost as if sort of like musical chairs, like you're going around and around and around and around and around, and then the music stops and everyone scrambles to a new position. We're kind of in one of those, like, everyone's going to scramble into a new position for a I don't know, a decade or something like that. And so on one hand, it could be very schizophrenic. On the other hand, you're going to get a lot of people who were formerly like a diehard militant atheist, violent, whatever, who could overnight just completely switch to calm, peaceful, gentle Christian.
I'll throw out some wild swing predictions here.
You're also, let me tag onto that real quick. You're also going to get people who are very calm, reasonable, gentle Christians who are suddenly gonna flip to being, I don't know, neurotic, militant, violent. You're going to get both of those. Both of these are going to be characterized. This age is going to be characterized by both of those happening at the same time.
We're already seeing a lot of the Protestants and Catholic groups reacting virulently, like little antibodies against orthodoxy. It's been part of
doesn't that say so much? Doesn't that say so much?
Orthodoxy will become under attack.
Like the Roman Catholics were like criticizing the Orthodox and defending the Muslims, because we were the Jay Dyer debate with I think it's Tim Gordon about Vatican II, how the Roman Catholics dogma is that the Muslims worship the same God as the Christians, and so you have all these Roman Catholics who are coming in to defend the Muslims against the Orthodox, which is pretty weird.
Really sounds like Seraphim Rose to me.
Yeah, and so it's like Jason says, a bitter white pill. The bitter white pill is recognizing that this is going to be characteristic of this age. You're not going to stop it. You're not going to prevent it from happening, but you also don't have to over-index on all the bad things that you see happening, because on the flip side of all of those bad things that you see happening is a good thing that's also happening. But if you only focus on, if you're only aware of, you only direct your attention at the bad things that are happening, you're actually driving this is where the hippies actually have they're onto something. You're giving your energy to it, which is making it bigger. You're giving life to it. You're quite literally investing your life into it when you focus your attention on it. This is why on my show I'm like over the top optimistic and positive. And I try to avoid stories that are downers. I don't do it. Sometimes we talk about stuff that's kind of a downer, but there's lots of people out there who are going to sell all the fear porn to you. There's not very many people who are going to tell you we're entering into a golden age. We're entering into an age where there's going to be tremendous discovery and growth and productivity and prosperity and many wonderful, amazing things are going to happen in this upcoming age. The bad things are going to happen too, but those that you're good. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, because while this is happening, Orthodoxy is seeding, and entire new communities are growing. And I talked about this on Ortho Thugs today, that Father Turbo Quails did this great homily a couple days ago, talking about how, like, despite the fact that we're Babylon, we know for a fact that we have not been abandoned by God, because look at all the saints he has given us. Look at all the lights he has given us. And Princess Mangianochi, I know you put it up here earlier, said, St. Paisio said, America will become holy. So out of all of this turmoil, something incredible is going to grow, you know?
Well, the benefit too is that Babylon didn't know it was Babylon. Rome didn't even know it was Rome, right? Like we have this benefit. Sometimes we bemoan having too much information, right? There's as a data analyst kind of guy, there's points, especially with the Russia-Ukraine war, where it's like there's just too much. Now you have to cipher through, absolute crap tons, and there's the easy stuff you can just throw out, but there's always stuff that you have to pay attention to, because there's like little tiny things embedded in the bullshit that you have to like extract somehow, right? So we have the almost benefit of too much information, but there's also, that's good because we know, right? Like the noticing wouldn't be happening 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Like all things could be exactly the exact same, but without this level of information, 40 years ago wouldn't have been possible. Just not, right? So the fact that we can do this thing, and that even the BOOMERWAFFEN, to bring it back to the title, are starting to get slowly activated and started asking some questions like, hey, the same questions a lot of us were asking 10 whatever years ago are slowly being brought on to it. I remember, just as a personal example, I remember first going into Gab, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, and still having that sort of like a reaction to anti-Semitism that I couldn't track. And it was actually one of my biggest like poignant, like, that's weird. Why do I have this reaction? I can see the most virulent racist stuff against blacks and Hindus and Asians and be like, yeah, whatever, right? But I see about Jews, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I don't like it. Oh, I feel awful, right? And I try to ration it out, but it stuck with me. Like, that's weird. Why am I having that reaction? But only to this. There's something there. And
it's because they've been kicked out of 109 countries and they've suffered enough. And what we did as evil whites is we forced them into financial institutions because they didn't have the opportunities to do real hard work. And so, honestly, the fact that now they've been given their own nation state where they can finally have some semblance of autonomy away from our oppressive regimes is the thing that's speaking to you is your true nature, is the fact, is your recognition of the ultimate goodness of the Jewish people.
There's too many stars on the flag behind you.
Yeah, no, there's not enough points on them. There's not enough points on them.
Have you? First of all, I want to taste I want to taste red heifer mac and cheese before I die. That's all I want. That's
we have that. We're working on the formula. We got over 100 Schofield Bible enthusiasts working on a red heifer mac and cheese formula. It comes in tote buckets, and you can cook it
temple sized. It's shaped like a temple.
Yeah, and you could cook it on the dead remains of those killed with subatomic nuclear missiles.
You eat it outside of a dome. You take the dome, you turn it upside down, and that's why you eat your red heifer mac and cheese right out of the dome. It's a nice nosh.
Yeah. The dome serves a dual purpose. Sorry,
a little lox and cheese mac and cheese.
Pause. I have to get in here at some point and recognize that we have received some tips today. I think they got lost in the chaos, but we got a $5 tip from It's Damn It Jeremy. He said, joined the Discord. Yes, join the Discord. Go to kingpill.com, become a member of the finest crew of patriots on the internet. Go to the Kingpill Discord, kingpill.com.
If you have not tipped yet, please go and rob your elderly parents or grandparents and then come back here, tip us, give it
They
back
don't
to
need
them.
it. They don't.
Yeah.
They're almost dead.
No,
What are they going to use it for?
it's gonna leak out anyways.
They're just going to give it to some some Indian guy. That's all they're going to do. They're going to go.
They're gonna give it to some Jewish charity posing as a Roman Catholic charity that's helping immigrants, and it's actually just importing cartel members into the country.
They're going to give it to some nice Jewish Hindu, nice Jewish Hindu to buy some Walmart gift cards. It's nice. It's a nice thing to do for him.
In my case, my dad was asking me about Bitcoin. And like a week later, he's like, somebody on Facebook messaged me that they're a crypto investor. I gave him $11,000. Can you help me with this? And like, he sent me a link. I'm like, Dad, this is a dummy account with nothing. These numbers are fake. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay, just 11,000.
A couple more super chats here or tips. Well Emmanuel, the ever steady, always present Well Emmanuel, with $5. He says, I would pay more, but boomers. And then and then hey with 3 Y's also sent in $5 and said, I love Frozen Jason. Jason, you have an admirer.
I should do it more often. Please do
contribute to
Let it go through the winds and snow.
Let go of your wallet. Send it to tips.kingpill.com and support your tip your streamers. Okay, as you guys
I'll just say it here. Elsa looks like a bitch. Elsa, well, what do you want? Elsa looks like a bitch. Like I would much rather go with her sister. Her sister looks all right. Her sister seems nice.
Have you guys noticed when the tips come in? Are they animating for you guys? Do you see the little thing that pops up over Ivan's head?
Nope.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, audience, have you seen them come in? Do you see the little dancing Alex Jones when they come in, or do you hear
Father, can
the
you
voice
hear
of
me?
Hans? The voice of Hans. Okay,
Yeah.
they do see them. Okay, good. All right. Well, at least the audience sees them. All right, as you were.
What were you saying?
Ortho Thugs is ascendant. Sorry.
No, that's okay. You can plug your shows.
Well, we were talking about people getting out of their
bathtubs,
sedated state, their sedated state, and I don't know if everyone here watched Ortho Thugs today, and if you didn't, I'm personally offended. But one of the things we came up with was the phrase, get out of your rolly chair, you fat queef. And also talking about King Pilled and what he said about, we can't always be focusing on the darkness. Well, guess what? That's what Ortho Thugs is. We're focusing on the light. It's a lighthearted thing. Remember back in the day when things were nice? Well, we're bringing it back. We're bringing back nice. So come on over to Ortho Thugs.
Every Thursday, yeah.
Every Thursday at the time that it happens. I mean, I don't know when it would happen for you. It's different because you know how you said to come here at like 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Well, that's not what I live on, so I don't know what. But it's then.
Here yet.
Huh?
It's not even 10 o'clock where I'm at yet.
Yo, thank you, King Pill. I appreciate it. Watch this show. It's the best show. It's the best show. It's the best show. Period.
I sent a link to Mr. Buck Johnson, so I'm sure he'll be checking you out as well. So.
nice.
Yeah. Throwing out all
right.
Shameless plug. Fuck Johnson.
Oh, fuck boy Johnson. What?
That dude fucks.
I didn't realize this was a dirty, bad stream full of anti-Semites. I came here to have
a nice conversation, have a little nosh, talk about the great state of Israel. What is wrong with these people? Please commence with the nice talking. Please. Why do we have to use this language? Let's
is it dinner time already?
Let's show the shows because I think we all got maybe another 20 minutes, half an hour in us, and then we can wrap her up. This has been a thing.
Hey, for our ethnic foreign friends, Jason and Yvonne, what are the boomers like in your home countries far away? Are they different than American boomers?
Oh no! What are you talking about?
They call them boomers because I mean, like, they didn't have the same baby boom that we did, right?
Yeah,
you still call them boomers in Argentina?
Yeah, we call them boomers, but I've got to be honest. I grew up too privileged to be able to answer that question. Like,
Well, of course he was privileged. Look at the man.
I see. You got the
Yeah, what's you said
you're much
Argentina?
whiter than I am.
yeah.
But he's one of them Argentinians. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right? You know about them Argentinians, right?
a lot of Steins in his house.
Well,
You go
one
to
of them
his house,
one of them mustached Argentinians, them mustachioed Argentinians. That
you go over to his grandparents' house. You see a lot of nice beer steins. You go, hey, what's with all the eagles? Why all the eagles? Why is it's a lot of eagles?
What's with
like-
all the painted plates with blonde children? I don't understand. I thought this was Mexico.
They take their
Playing-
birthright trips to Antarctica.
it's blonde hair, blue eyed kids playing poker. You're like, this is weird. It's in velvet too. Why? Why is this happening?
There's
To the
nothing weirder
question,
than
though,
white people living normal lives.
Why do they
Ivan,
call it?
what are Argentina boomers like?
Like honestly, I wouldn't know how to explain it, but
Salt of
I
the
think
earth
they're-
types.
no, they're not. They're
German. What?
The-
Sorry.
they're very entitled, opinionated. They think they still rule the world. They're I don't
Like
know.
the Germans. Like, we came so close.
No, it doesn't
It's
sound
very-
different than what we have. It doesn't sound that much different.
It's the same thing, basically the same thing. They're a little bit less annoying, I would say, that the American counterpart. We don't have Karens, like we don't. And
I love Karens.
My,
You're the only
mom's
one,
named Karen.
God bless her. Sorry, I didn't mean to keep.
What about
interrupting,
in
but
Spain?
please.
Now that you live in Spain, do you see
they're
the
the
same
worst.
pattern there?
No, it's even worse. It's even worse because Spain is full of old people. It's like literally a sea of bald heads and white hair everywhere. Like they can barely even move.
That doesn't
you can
bode
see-
well for their economic future.
No. It's ruined. It's wrecked. Spain is being like it's already a done deal. Like it's gonna be replaced. Like a lot of Moroccans are coming here. A lot of Africans, a lot of Latin Americans, and those are the
N-word.
good ones. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to be my own soundboard.
Yeah. So anyway, no, Spain is cooked. It's completely cooked. And
I've heard that.
Matt just turns into like soundboy Tourette's, like huge. I'm gonna come. What?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. I have I have a question, another question for Ivan, but it's on a different subject. Jason, are the same question?
That's
Wes-
not another
same
subject.
question
That's
to
a different person. You're like, I have a question
So,
for Ivan, but it's a different subject. Jason.
Yes. No, I have a question for Ivan, but it's on a different subject, and Westford directed that question at Jason as well. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I don't leave.
'Cause,
I don't leave my.
he's got
I don't leave my
Canadian
house. I don't leave my
in
house.
Australia.
I don't leave my house.
fair, yeah, because there's sand.
And Australians out there. I don't.
And coconut
No.
crabs.
I don't talk to them.
And the
Why would I
beach.
talk? Why would I talk to Australians about anything?
And
About anything, like,
shorts.
literally anything. Yeah, there's
All
like
right, we've
they-
listed
they-
all the items. I'm
they-
sure that Ivan's going to get his moment to shine any moment now.
They like sand and shorts, and I don't why I don't consider them people really. I mean,
Stop acting like any one of us is wearing pants right now. Nobody here is wearing pants.
I am.
You're wearing pants.
I'm wearing two pairs.
Oh my
I knew.
goodness.
I knew what kind of room I was walking into. I'm like, I'm gonna pants up. I'm gonna put a few pairs on.
He's wearing pants for all of us.
He looks like
Myron
a
Chuck
fucking
Fraser
Michelin
is
man.
for
Jason-
everyone.
Jason, I'm not going to out anybody, but before you jumped in the chat, before we went live, we discussed who is wearing pants and who is wearing shorts. So
Mhm.
just so you know, there are some among us.
we already
who are
showed our shorts to each other.
Wearing.
Shorts. Oh, you guys are
Yeah,
wearing
we
shorts?
moved the
That's
cameras
nice.
around.
I know you're a
How-
bunch of queer. I know you're a bunch of queers. This is my missionary work. What are you talking about? This is how.
Oh,
I
missionaries.
didn't realize you guys were so formal, wearing shorts out here. I won't
Okay,
show you
Ivan.
what I'm wearing.
I have a thesis. I'll try to keep it simple here. So, so one of my part of this thesis is that America is actually not America is on its the upswing toward empire. It is early on in its life cycle. We haven't reached the imperial stage yet, but part of getting to that imperial stage is going to be the crystallization of a clear American ethnicity. That we're experiencing ethnogenesis in real time right now, and there's a lot of different things that feed into the American identity. But one thing, so this would be the question. I'd be curious to your perspective from having grown up in Argentina, living in Spain, having a very Latinized background. I think one of the key things a lot of people miss about America is that America is not an Anglo nation. It has heavy Anglo influence, but it also has when you think about like the rugged frontiersman, the kind of 1980s action hero, sort of bombastic, very romantic, very Baywatch, all these things that are very characteristically American, they strike me as much more Latin. And my view of what the American ethnicity is developing into is it's not Anglo and it's not Latin, but it's heavily influenced by both, and it's sort of a synthesis of both. And obviously, you're also going to have like in any ethnicity, you're going to have like one primary race within that ethnicity, and then there's going to be other races that are represented. So, like African Americans are not Africans; they're Americans, and they're always going to be Americans. They're going to be like one of the smaller races within the American ethnicity. But what do you from a Latin background, from being very Latinized yourself, where do you see that in America, like the American personality?
I think that's a very difficult question to answer because, like, you have a culture that predisposes you in a certain direction. Like, it's very different. Like, take two South American examples that are the polar opposite: Brazil and Argentina. Brazil, it's a melting pot, and it truly is a melting pot. Like, people intermarry. Like, you've got like all different colors. Like, people, like, they're really, really mixed. And you've got like indigenous people, African people, you've got Germans, you've got Portuguese, you've got all sorts of like different people, and they can see race because they're not blind, but they don't even feel anything about it. It's if anything, like, class is more important than race to them. While in Argentina, it's the polar opposite, in the sense that Argentina, like, very early on, like, it completely destroyed the slave population. Like, why? Because what it did was, like, historically we had some like wars of like what would be your expansion to the west, like the frontier, like what we used like African American soldiers to fight to fight the Native Americans. So both populations like mutually destroyed each other, and then we flooded the country with like European immigration. So like in the beginning, like 100 years ago, more or less, when the country was already sort of established somewhat, Spanish people and Italian people, like, they were the thing, and they were kind of like at odds with each other. And now I would say the Argentinians are like a mix of like Spanish and Italian, and it's not even a thing, but they're both already like kind of similar looking at, if you squint a little bit, like they're both white and Europeans, right? And there's almost like now there's a very stark difference with all the immigration from Bolivia, Paraguay, all those countries, where like there's like a lower class of people who are clearly darker skinned because they have more native blood, and like it's starting to create a sort of like tension. And the US, like, it has those tensions already there. So I think that what the US needs to do is to address like racism, not in the like, let's do like the stupid things that they're doing right now, but actually going like No, bro, we actually do have things in common. Like we've been living together like for 200 years. Like we have like the same holidays. We have all of these traditions that, but the thing is that will not happen unless you choose to let it happen. Like it has to be proactive. It will not happen by itself.
Well, I mean, speaking as the darkest man here, even darker than the Argentinian, the most ethnic man in this entire chat, I will say this. I appreciate your
Jaundice does
ideal.
not count as a skin color. Jaundice does not count.
Let me
Yeah, just because
let
your
me
liver
ride.
doesn't work, dude.
Let me look. I'm a blighted white. All right. So what?
More whiskey.
The only issue with that I see is that, because I do think, I grew up with a sort of American idealism. Like I loved the dream team. I remember once Larry Bird and Michael Jordan won the Olympics, I turned to my mother and I said, this is the most incredible country in the world because we have the best of all the countries combined. And I really believed in that wholeheartedly. I participated in Hands Across America, all this sort of thing. But there is an issue, and not to get too deep with it, not to get too crazy with it, but with Black people, there is an issue where when we try and unite, and when we try and fall under a banner of these are the rules, these are the guidelines, and you have to stick by them, those are always labeled as racist. Just by the fact that for some reason or another they are more prone to breaking the law than other people, and so we end up in this like Mr. Westford over here is a proud Black man. But what I'm saying is it's this endless cycle where if we do uphold values, if we do uphold laws, those laws and values eventually get critiqued as racist simply because they apply to certain ethnic groups more than others. And if we don't uphold those laws, if we don't uphold those values, then everything falls into chaos, and it just keeps happening over and over and over again. So while I do agree with you, I do think that maybe inevitably there's going to need to be some sort of separation. And I don't say that joyfully, it seems like I don't see any other solution personally.
Well, I wanted to actually address that because even though my tendency would be the same as yours, from my own experience and from what I see and I saw happening around me, was that you have to double down on the racism for the racism to stop. And it sounds like a stupid thing, but Black people will call out other people Uncle Toms, but actually there are a lot of Black people who hate the fact that they're being associated with ghetto culture, and those are the guys who are gonna destroy those wedges, because it's gonna become a thing of a culture and not a thing of race in terms of genetics or blood, and that's actually what you want to happen. It's it doesn't matter if ultimately the underclass is going to be a little bit darker skinned. It actually doesn't matter, as long as you have, let's say, a robust society where values are what identify you. Because for example in Argentina, the underclass, like I said, is a little bit darker skinned, but there are a lot of people of that ethnicity that are blending into the rest of society because of values, because they want to be honorable, right? And kudos to them. That's the best thing that you can aspire to. But the problem is that if you treat them as monoliths, then what you're doing is guaranteeing that they will have to stick with the people that have the same phenotype, because they see you now as a threat. And this doesn't mean, oh, you have to be colorblind. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is love them as a Christian, and they will respond to that like any human being. So let them sort it out. Why do you have to apologize? If the other person is a crazy person, let them be. There's no need to overreact.
Just briefly to comment on Jim Bob's comment, I'm so racist. I used to cheer for the white team who played against the Harlem Globetrotters. Like I was for the white team all the time. I was like, "Come on, guys, this time we got him. Come on, come on! Oh, don't let him just dunk in front of your face like that. He's sputting around in the air. Why are you helping him? Why? That was me as a kid. I didn't understand.
Jason,
I didn't get it.
I can't. I find it hard to believe that you'd watch a sport where they all wear shorts.
I know.
Well, I mean, I think there'll be a natural stratification as long as we don't have, certain hands stirring the pot, trying to constantly integrate and force people together. There's a way in which people, before all of these government programs have forced us, there's a way in which people just tend towards their own, and it's not a bad thing. It's not an evil thing. It's a very natural thing. I apologize about my dogs in the background, but there is one thing I heard.
He started talking about hands and stirring the pot and stuff, and the dog got riled up. I was like, he's well trained.
Yeah, well, he hates anti-Semitism almost as much as I do, though I don't think anybody can. But one thing I want to take away from what Ivan said is he said we need to be more racist, and well, you're saying that I need to be even more racist, and I just want to say, Ivan, I'll try. Okay, I'll do my best.
Start with being racist against Ivan.
He's literally the whitest of all of us.
It's true. It's true.
I think he has the right to be racist against all of us.
He's
we should actually
Armenian.
submit to him.
Do you wear tracksuits?
Well, he's gonna move to Russia, so he's got to pick one up.
Yeah, right.
You're moving to Russia?
Have you been practicing your Slav squat?
Yeah, I can do it.
Speaking of
how many tracksuits do you own? Not enough. You need more.
Not enough.
Get more tracksuits. Adidas is required to wear. Actually, fun story. I was at liturgy this past Sunday, and this family came in who I haven't seen them before. But I knew they were Slavs right away because the father and the two older sons were all in their best Adidas tracksuits as they walked in. I'm like, oh, there's the Russians. Here we go. Here we go.
Why you say Adidas? Why you say Adidas?
That's how you pronounce it, motherfucker.
Nobody ever did that but you, I think.
No, Adidas. That's
Canadians, man.
Adidas, bro.
Adidas. There's a German in the chat. He knows.
Have you ever stepped foot on American soil?
Yeah, I've been to New York.
And you still say Adidas. I've never heard that ever.
I'm fancy like that, man. I don't use no fancy language like some of them others do, but I do declare I do pull up my colloquialisms at times.
Okay.
I like to get funky like a monkey, baby, with my Adidas on, my prime ass Adidas tracksuit.
I like that. There's one thing about Jason. He'll go for it, man. Earlier on his stream, I said something about hamburgers. He did like a 5-minute spiel about hamburgers, which I'm thinking of clipping and turning into my new advertisement on my show. Actually, I hope that's okay with you.
You can use it. It's okay.
It honestly, it kind of slapped.
Yeah. Hey, my wife makes a good point. Jason, when you go to like I don't know, like a store that sells shoes, I can't think of one off the top of my head. But would you go and buy like something footwear, something or other? Would you go in and buy a pair of Converse?
Converse, I need Adidas and Nikas. Let me get a pair of Nikas. Let me get a pair of the balances.
Dude,
I have owned some Converse.
You're talking to me about Nikas.
I've owned some Converse and some Nikas. Because I go to the Asian stores.
Oh,
I go to the Asian stores. I go for the deals. I'm like, I'm not paying that money. I'm gonna go for.
Do you wear Neo Balencis?
No, but I mean,
I don't think anybody's owned any Nikas in this country in a while. But what do you guys think about slavery? Is that all right?
Honestly, I think people really get bent out of shape about it. That's a roof over your head. That's a meal. That's more than a lot of modern people are getting for their work. And I think I've had enough of these complaints.
Might just because I'm a Southerner or something, but I do think a lot of people nowadays would be living a better life if I owned them.
Yeah.
Well, here's the open question, right? It's like everyone reacts against this idea of like neo-feudalism. Like, you don't understand like how many people would choose feudalism if given the option, right? Like most days, they get tons of days off in the year, nice working out in nice sunshine, sense of purpose and community. Hey, what are you doing? Like, you don't own anything anyways. You might as well be happy. Do some labor. Do some little like gardening. What are you doing?
Take a page out of Orwell's book, man. Slavery is freedom. These people don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. Well, man, I've been unemployed,
I give him a good life
in the past. So honestly, at that point, I would have preferred to be a slave. No joke.
Are you asking to be my slave?
No. Get out of here, Westford.
When you say it sounds weird, dude. When you say it doesn't sound right. I'm gonna choose my master wisely.
Don't make it sexual.
Give me some time. Huh?
Yeah, I'm not asking him to be my Sally or whatever. Freaking, what was the
You
slave?
cannot afford me anyway, bro.
Thomas Jefferson had?
Look, we're not yet at the point where we're selling ourselves into slavery. Let's enjoy Teletubbies and Fruit Loops a little bit longer, and talk to me in a year, man. Talk to me once Palantir.
I was trying to get the pendulum to swing because 5 minutes ago we were saying he's the whitest one, he's like the most superior, and I was gonna see if I could flip him right down to the bottom.
Westford's just gonna milk you.
It's the only place I've ever been, broski.
It'll be an easy life.
Yeah, I'm gonna milk AOC. I'm gonna milk Yvonne. That's my afternoon.
What do you mean by milk? What do you mean by milk, bro? You could say some stuff that makes me feel odd. What do you mean by milk, my G?
You've been talking about mac and cheese all night. How you gonna make mac and cheese out with some milk, man?
I'm not. I've never. Look, we are working on a formula for AOC milk mac and cheese, but that was supposed to be a secret, and that's a limited supply. You got to sign up right now, literally right now at gobeafraid.com. Gobesoafraid.com.
I've got nipples, Greg. You want to try to milk me?
Oh, dude, I'm out of here, man. How much longer is this going on? That's a pretty tough thing to say to someone, though. You want to milk me, dude? You want to try and milk me? Why don't you try and milk me?
I'm waiting to see if anybody in the chat gets the reference.
He's gonna harvest your sweat. Hello.
Well, you're gonna have to wait for my lymph nodes to heal because apparently I haven't been sweating enough.
You know, we've been looking at this all wrong. Hello Listener doesn't have jaundice. The color of his skin isn't from the cheese powder. It's actually where the cheese powder comes from.
This is a normal skin color for any Sicilian man to have. I don't appreciate this interwhite racism.
You just get it in a little vial and then you let it. You just put it out in the sun and you let it turn into a powder. It dries out.
Nigga, this ain't no interwhite race. You from The Simpsons. You a goddamn Lego, man.
That was good, dude.
That man a nigga.
Or are we saying nigga now? I've been holding back the whole time. I didn't know it was that kind of show.
Well, no, earlier they were saying something about owning knickers. I thought we already let it out of the bag.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the shoe.
I thought Nippon was racist until I started looking into financial stuff. I'm like, oh, it's a fucking market. I thought Nippon.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of moralities that go out the window when you start looking at the financial stuff.
Okay, guys. It's been fantastic, but it's almost 7 a.m. for me. I've been awake for 24 hours, so I need to go.
Oh yeah, go get some sleep, man.
He's a white man
It's been
fading.
a pleasure.
Should we?
I'm glad you ended on a high note, and I'm sorry you won't be my slave. One day you'll come around.
I want to thank Gene for leaving and making me the resident ethnic.
Shout out your channel or whatever you want to send people. Oh, he left.
Wait, I can go to Christ is King Philosophy. He's also on x.com. Let me see if I can pull him up. Christ is King, maybe. Get his exact handle if I can. My internet's being slow, it looks like.
Oh, hey, Jason's back.
Hey, I was gone. You've been gone. You've been 100% gone up until this moment.
This is the first time that you haven't been frozen the whole stream. Have you been like making faces and like doing stuff?
Did you think that you were having visual impact on us this whole time?
Oh, I was. Now I'm not. Now it's the animation me, but
Guys, I'm sweating like a person who has to, and it's
Okay.
really getting rough for me. I've had a couple whiskeys, and you know, I don't want to let my real thoughts out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
I want to go there.
it's not ready. I'm not ready. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on my real thoughts. Don't put me up there. Don't put me up there.
Looked like you guys are about to have a moment, so I was going to give you the
Oh, thank you. Well,
give you the floor.
Well, as
I'm
a
nervous.
don't be afraid, man. As a boomer, I have a very caring misunderstanding of reality, and I would never. Well, I do find your mustache threatening. I also think that. See, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. I have nothing left. I really am like exhausted. I'm sick as a dog, and I did 2 shows today. So, I can. Is it okay? I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. God bless you all, and you know, and like
God bless America. Good night.
and it's just one thing.
Goodbye, organic mechanic. Have a good night.
Gentlemen, success? Maybe?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, I think we solved it. I think we solved. We exhausted the topic. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
We talked about boomers for maybe 30%.
I think we managed to make it sufficiently indecipherable by any boomers. So we managed to completely firewall the conversation. So if any boomer showed up and started to listen, they would just be like, I don't know what's happening here.
It's funny because Jim asked me after our Tuesday stream. He's like, are we doing something on Thursday? Because he's part of that chat group. I'm like, oh, we're just doing a group with young guys. You can come on, Jim, if you want. And he's like, no, that's fine. He's like, I'm not. And I think we just saved Jim from having a meltdown.
Oh, all right.
What do you think boomers'
Mr.
reactions
Westford
would be to all of this? Yeah. What's
Mr.
up?
Westford is blurry. Is this blurry in real life? This is actually his fidelity.
Yep.
Yeah, I came out of the womb at 720p.
720. That's more like
420. It was a 480 for like a 480, right? 420.
No, it's more like 240.
240.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dang. I bought freaking Elon internet to fix this problem. It's not fixed.
Maybe you're just gonna have to move to a different state, closer to
I guess so.
your internet friends.
Maybe it's too overcast for Starlink to work.
With Lex pixelation, where would that be? Montana?
I don't know, the South. That's where I'm from. Let's go back there. Go back to Texas or Tennessee or Virginia or something. What do you guys think would the boomers' reaction be to our exegesis of their generation? Like if they heard us talk about all this stuff, would they be like, "Oh yeah, that's me"?
Oh no, definitely. I don't think so. I mean, I think when we talked about the when we were defending them, talking about all the different bad things that happened to them that they went through, I think that they would definitely resonate with that. But it probably depend on the boomer. My mother-in-law listens to every stream that I do, and she listens. I happen to know she listens to a lot of Jason's streams as well, and she is a boomer. So maybe I'll ask her if she listened to this stream.
We should have gotten Orthodox boomer grandma in the chat, and she could have given us some critical insight.
Mm-hmm. She's a gem.
Gentlemen, should we call it?
What are we going to call it?
Yo mama.
Network Armageddon.
Karen.
Electric Boogaloo. Say it with me. Network
Network
Armageddon.
Armageddon,
Electric
electric
Boogaloo.
Network Armageddon. Electric.
Network Armageddon. Electric Boogaloo. And Network Armageddon. Electric Boogaloo. Network Armageddon. Electric Boogaloo. And Network Armageddon. Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. Electric Boogaloo.
It's a nice thing to say with your mouth.
That probably sounds like
Come back.
AIDS to the listeners.
Come back next week. We'll see if Hello Listener and Mr. Westford and Ivan and all the rest of it want to do part 2 and continue this fine trend. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun thing to say with your mouth, fun thing to do on your Thursday or Thursday evening, Friday morning, afternoon, maybe sometime. What?
Yeah, how many different time zones did we have represented here? We had
17.
We have Pacific, we have Central, we have Eastern, we have, or wait, no, Tony's in Alaska, isn't he?
Right.
So we had like Alaskan time, whatever that is, then Pacific, then Central, then Spain, then Australia.
And Australian time zones are all messed up. You ever look at that? You ever look at an Australian time zone map? Don't make any sense. It's like it's not vertical. It's like a bunch of boxes.
Oh,
What's
and
going on?
they have like half-hour intervals that they do for daylight savings time.
Yeah, it's retarded.
That's fucking like the most Australian thing I've ever heard.
Why do you think I don't leave the house? I'm constantly afraid that everything's going to collapse at any given time. I'm like, I don't know how this. I don't know how it works.
There's
Do
sand.
they make the roads out of road, or did they opt out for I don't know, whatever thing? Oh, we make it out of sticks, mate. Oh no, we just make it out of sticks. It's just a bit of wool. That's all it is. That's all we need down here. It's a bit of wool. Oh, we're not like you Northerners. We don't need any of those fancy things, like concrete. And what the fuck's wrong with you people?
I've got a prompt for a future show, perhaps. When the Bible talks about building on houses of sand, is that what the internet is? Because like silica, like the digital age is age, a house of sand.
We'll get Cyprian on.
Oh no.
To educate you about the internet demons.
Oh yeah, we should totally do that. That would be great. I can't wait to have that show.
You guys were such nice
I can
friends.
envision it in its entirety.
You guys were
already.
such nice friends. You made Clint Russell talk about martyrdom and so I remember that.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man,
you broke the libertarian brain. Was just with one you just cracked it over your fucking knees.
Yeah.
And you both had to come out and apologize afterwards. It was so weird.
That is, if you guys know what Jason is talking about,
That's
the
deep lore.
Yes,
that's some deep king pill. That's pre king pill, maybe.
Yeah. No. That was
year 1 king pill.
Yeah,
year
year
0.
1 king pill.
Year 0. We'll call it year 0 king pill.
It was 2021.
What, 2020?
Yeah. It was 2021. Yeah.
Go watch Cyprian and Matthew on Clint Russell, that mensch channel.
I don't know if it's still is that. I wonder if he still has it up. Clint Russell.
It's gonna be there. It's out there somewhere.
Cyprian king pilled. That's like the one interaction that I had with Clint Russell. Nope. Just the first thing that came up was a Lions of Liberty episode. Liberty lockdowns Clint Russell on martyrdom, the Mises Caucus, and the Cyprian Erickson fallout.
So there was some fallout.
Oh yeah. It was so Clint Russell had Cyprian and I on. I don't remember what the premise of it was exactly, but it ended up being talking about Dave Smith. And this was like 2021, right after 2020, right after COVID, and like the whole post-libertarian thing was happening. And there's lots of rumors Dave's going to run for president. And we were discussing that. And this was the first interaction that I'd ever had with Clint, or I think with Cyprian.
Right, Cyprian called Dave a predator.
Yeah, Cyprian started saying that Dave Smith was a predator because he's like baiting young men in to follow him in this movement, and he's ultimately going to abandon them. And his behavior in all of this is predatory. And I'm sitting there on the stream while this is happening, and I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be a whole thing. And so I had to be like, I tried to to try to thread the needle a little bit and be like, maybe Cyprian's being very dramatic with this, but there's, if you get autistic about it, he actually that maybe has a point. Yeah, no, the whole thing just went.
Well, because you were still kind of in the libertarian world a little bit. Like
this was like right in the heart of when the whole post-libertarian thing was starting to kick off, and Pete was kicking all the hornets' nests, and I was streaming and starting to piss libertarians off on Twitter and arguing with Ace and all these other people. That it was right in the heart of that, and that's what really kicked it off. I had so many angry libertarians yelling at me for months after that. Yeah, Fred.
Dude, where is the social contract? I don't remember. Did you sign it with your little baby hand?
I started telling him to stop being poor. I said, if you don't like how much power you don't have, then stop being fucking poor. Don't be a loser. Yelling at the state all the time when you're like, you make $12 an hour. Stop being poor. And that just that really got him going. The good old days.
Mr. Westford, any last thoughts? Any last comments? Anything else you want to throw into the mix?
Well, I had a joke earlier, but it's gone, so probably not. No, I think I'm too tired. Something about boomers. Something about how you guys made me feel bad for them, and that makes me feel bad. I don't want to feel bad for the boomers.
You should feel bad.
Yeah, I want to laugh at them more.
No, it's good for you. Honestly, what's always stunning to me, because I was doing looking for more, pro boomer stuff, and on X, it's just a sea of like boomer hate. It's just post after post after post after post after post, to the point where it's like I almost feel like I have to take the opposite position just because out of decency, out of narrative control, like out of my iconoclastic. No, you all hate the boomers. I love them. They're the best. What are you talking about? Fantastic.
Befriend a boomer.
Befriend a boomer. Honestly, you guys, you should. It's fun. It's nice. They're nice people.
They have a lot
they're very handy. There's one at my church who so recently I had a tree fall down on my yard, and I've spent like 4 or 5 days doing truckloads, getting all the branches and brambles off of it, make it just a log. Actually broke the window of my truck throwing logs into the back of my truck. One bounced up and busted a window. It sucks. But he texted me because he heard about it, and he was like, I know these guys who like do lumber stuff. I can send them over there, just measure the circumference. They'll probably take care of it for you and pay you for it. So I thought I was gonna have like another week of chainsawing and stuff, but I'm gonna make $300 to have them come and do the work for me. So befriend a boomer. You make $300 and they do the work for you. That's the end result.
That's completely wins. All right, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, messieurs, gentlemen.
Join the King Pill Discord.
Love you. Yep,
kingpill.com. Follow Mr. Westford on YouTube. We got to get him to 1,000 subs so he can monetize.
Yeah, right after the stream, go over to Mr. Westford's channel. And,
links should be in the description here on YouTube, and I'll make sure that they're in the when I upload this to the podcatchers, I'll make sure they're in there as well. I'll have to find. Can you send me over Jeem and Ivan's stuff, and I'll put that in there. Hello, listener, and Westford, your stuff is already in the description. Your Twitter and your
go
YouTube.
Go follow Hello, listener as well, because I think he's almost at 1,000. So go do that. Yeah, Westford, get on Kick. Everyone get on Kick. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened with the stream, but well, we'll sort it out. And yeah, me, Mr. Marinchuk on Twitter, or Marinchuk Now, as I'm commonly referred to, and go do that stuff as well. Again, or almost. Hey, I'm breathing down Matt's neck, hot and heavy neck. Ooh, the way he likes it, because he's got what? You got 3.9K subscribers on YouTube. I've got 3.85 thereabouts. So make it happen, kids. If you haven't done it already, go subscribe so I can always be one more subscriber more than Matthew Erickson. And then we have to get him more subscribers, or he could be more than me, and then I can be more than him, and then we just go round and round and round forever. That's the dance we play until he leaves at YouTube and goes on Kick, and then I win.
Your name is Jason Miranchuk.
Yeah, I am. And it's later than you think.